Welcome, friends. I hope everyone is doing well. I have appeared before you today with a new chapter of mystery. You are watching the True Shadow Hauntings. Imagine a paradise for which you have given away your home, family, and a lifetime of savings. But after stepping into that paradise, you saw barbed wire fences all around, guards standing with guns in hand, and the voice of a mad leader floating into your ears. November 18, 1978, in the jungles of Guyana, South America, occurred one of the most infamous horrors in human history, where within a span of only a few hours, 918 people lost their lives, 304 of whom were innocent children. But was it merely a mass suicide or a cold-blooded, well-planned massacre? In today's video, we will uncover the blood-curdling true story of Jim Jones and his cursed Jonestown.
America of the 1950s, an ordinary young man wandering the streets of Indiana, in whose eyes was a strange, glittering addiction. His name, Jim Jones. But who knew? Behind this ordinary appearance lay hidden the most terrifying cult leader in history. Did he really want the liberation of people, or did he want absolute dominance? Jim Jones started his career at a time when racism and social inequality were at their peak in America. Jones capitalized on exactly this unrest. He created such a church where there would be no black and white discrimination, named it People's Temple. He used to project himself as a selfless social worker. By arranging free food, medical care, and housing for the poor, he very quickly became a flesh and blood god to thousands of people. But here lay his real trickery. To gain the blind faith of people, he would show fake miracles or supernatural healings sitting on stage. He claimed he could give life to dead people, could cure terminal cancer. Hundreds of people would fall at his feet. But history bears witness, all these were finely staged dramas. Yet, the fascination of people did not fade. His followers would not hesitate to sacrifice their own homes, lifetime savings, even their own families for him. By the mid-1970s, his power increased so much that big political leaders also started seeking his support. By then, the number of his followers had exceeded 20,000. But behind the scenes, a horrific darkness was forming. Jim Jones himself had become addicted to drugs and was slowly losing his mental balance. A strange fear had entered his mind that the US government would destroy him. He started brainwashing his followers that America was no longer safe for them. He showed them the dream of building a new paradise in the deep jungles of Guyana, South America, where there would be no want or sorrow. Thousands of people stepped into that death trap of Jim Jones. They handed over their everything to Jones and set out towards the inaccessible jungles of Guyana. They thought they were going on the path of liberation, but they did not know they were actually signing their own death warrants. What was the ultimate consequence of that hypnotic power of Jim Jones? What was there in the jungles of Guyana that changed world history? The inaccessible jungle of Guyana, where even sunlight is afraid to reach. Right there, Jim Jones had built his dream settlement, Jonestown. To the hundreds of people who left the busy cities of America, it was a new light of hope. But within a few days of stepping into that boundary of the jungle, their dreams started to break. They realized they were not in any paradise, rather trapped in a giant prison. Jonestown was surrounded by armed guards and all escape routes were closed. Jim Jones declared, "This is an independent territory where the laws of the outside world do not apply." There began a terrifying system of governance. There was no such thing as personal life for people in Jonestown. 24 hours a day and night, Jim Jones's harsh voice's speech would play on the mic, which was enough to paralyze people's brains. Food was inadequate there, yet one had to do back-breaking labor. Every day at dawn, one had to wake up to the sound of a siren and work in the fields until late at night. If someone wanted to rest a bit out of exhaustion, inhuman torture would fall to their lot. The strangest thing was Jim Jones's public confession sessions. Their followers were forced to apologize for their minor mistakes in front of everyone and to spy against each other. Father would complain against his child or wife against her husband. In this way, Jim Jones had snatched away even the mutual trust from among the people. His madness did not stop here. He had instilled fear in the minds of his followers that the outside world or the US military would attack them at any time. And from this fear, he started the strangest rehearsal in history, which he named White Night. By ringing the siren at midnight, everyone was gathered and a cup of red drink was handed to them. It was said there is poison mixed in this. Jones wanted to see if his followers were ready to die for him. Even if there was no poison, it was a mental rehearsal of death. As a result of this torture and brainwashing day after day, the thinking capacity of those people was lost. They started to see Jim Jones not as God, but as a mad dictator. But by then, it was too late. When this death game of Jim Jones was at its peak, exactly then some cries from inside Jonestown started reaching the soil of America. What was in that secret note? From inside that suffocating prison of Jonestown, some secret notes and cries started reaching the soil of America. The relatives of those lost people were then desperate. Under their pressure, brave US Congressman Leo Ryan came forward. He decided he would see with his own eyes what was actually happening in that jungle of Guyana. November 17, 1978, Leo Ryan with his team and a few journalists set foot in Jonestown. At first, Jim Jones gave them a royal reception. At night, a program of dance and music was organized. Jones wanted to show that everyone was happy there. But behind that festival was the silence of the grave. In the middle of the program, a follower secretly tucked a note into Leo Ryan's hand, where it was written, "Save us from here. We want to go back." On the morning of November 18th, all masks began to fall off. When Leo Ryan announced that those who want to return can get on the plane with him, then Jim Jones's decorated paradise collapsed like a house of cards. Jones realized once these people go to America and open their mouths, his empire will turn to dust. Still, Leo Ryan very courageously set out towards Port Kaituma airstrip with 16 followers. While they were preparing to board the plane, right then a tractor and some people were seen in the distance. Everyone thought they might be coming to say goodbye, but in a moment that mistake was shattered. Jones's armed guards getting down from the tractor started brush fire without any warning. All around were screams and the sound of wailing. Congressman Leo Ryan collapsed in a rain of bullets. Along with him, 3 more journalists and 1 fleeing follower were killed. This incident was the first time in American history, the killing of a congressman while performing duty. That pitched road of the airstrip instantly turned red with blood. Meanwhile, Jim Jones got the news that bloodshed had begun. He knew now there was no way to escape. The American army would attack at any time. Reaching the last limit of madness and insanity, he created a terrible solution for his followers. What was that solution? When the news of the bloody conflict at the airstrip reached Jonestown, Jim Jones realized that the final hour of his decorated empire had struck. He ordered everyone to gather in that huge pavilion for the last time. A huge vat had been prepared there
beforehand, inside which was strawberry-flavored drink, and with it was mixed deadly poison like potassium cyanide and Valium. Jim Jones stood before his followers and began to give a speech. He termed it as revolutionary suicide or revolutionary Atmahatya. He claimed US soldiers would come and torture their children, so dying with dignity is the only way. That hellish scene of history began. First, the poisonous drink was held to the mouths of children. Mothers were feeding their children that poison with their own hands. After a while, the sky and air of Jonestown became heavy with the screams of children. Those who were not willing to drink the poison, Jim Jones's armed guards started giving them poisonous injections by force. One by one, everyone big and small drank that killer drink. Rows of people started collapsing on the ground. Jim Jones was recording that entire time on an audio tape, which is known in history today as the death tape. In that tape can be heard the helpless screams of people, and in the midst of it, Jim Jones's cold voice, which was repeatedly saying, "Don't be afraid to die, be calm." Within a span of only a few hours, that deep jungle of Guyana turned into a massive graveyard. When the rescue team reached there the next morning, what they saw surpassed even imagination. Scattered all around were 909 lifeless bodies, 304 of whom were innocent children. Jim Jones himself did not drink poison. He was found beside his throne in a state of having shot himself in the head. A total of 918 people lost their lives on that one day, which was the largest man-made tragedy in American history before the 9/11 attacks. This incident of Jonestown has taught us that blind faith and unconditional loyalty to a single leader can be how terrifying. Jim Jones may have died, but the screams of those 918 people still remain as a permanent wound in the pages of history. Was it merely suicide or a cruel mass murder?
Even though many call it a mass suicide, I believe it was a well-planned mass murder because hundreds of children were killed there by being fed poison who had no power to make a decision. Besides, many adults were forced to drink poison at gunpoint. Jim Jones actually cheated them by taking advantage of their faith. The horror of blind faith, Jonestown shows us that when people depend blindly on any one individual and lose their own judgment, how horrific the result can be. Jim Jones first won the hearts of people by talking about equality and love, but later he used that very love as a death trap. The danger of isolation. Jim Jones had completely isolated his followers from the outside world. When any human being becomes isolated from family, society, and information, it becomes very easy to control them. Because the people of Jonestown did not get any news from outside, they were forced to believe every lie of Jones. Summary: Jonestown reminds us that irrational faith and radical ideology can be how destructive. It is such a wound that even today forces us to question exactly how far is the limit of human cruelty.
So friends, do let us know in the comments how you felt about this terrifying true story. Your opinions help us improve our upcoming videos even more. That's all for today. Very soon we'll meet again with another brand new spine-chilling incident. If you're new to our channel, don't forget to subscribe right now and give this video a like to stay with us, because every single like and subscription from you motivates us to search for even more horrifying true stories and bring them to you.